Hello and welcome to BBC World News. A global summit that aims to tackle the devastating consequences of the pandemic on education has begun today in London. At one point, it was estimated that more than 1 billion children were absent from schools because of lockdown measures. Well, the summit is being co-hosted by Britain and Kenya and aims to raise a $5 billion pot of money to buy books, to train teachers and build classrooms over the next 5 years. Well, summit leaders also hope to get 175 million children back to school, saving many from poverty and early pregnancy. Well, one of the speakers addressing today's conference was the Nobel Peace Prize winner Malala Yousafzai, who spoke about the importance of education and this initiative.
If we want a stronger, fairer world, we must keep girls learning. Girls' education improves public health, mitigates climate change, improves peace, and promotes economic growth. Strong education financing is key to achieving this goal.
Well, we'll be live at that summit in just a moment or two, but first we just wanted to highlight one example of an education programme working on the ground and making a difference. Our East Africa Women's Affairs correspondent Esther Ogolo has visited a catch-up centre in eastern Kenya that's bringing hope to teenage mums who've dropped out of school. Have a look.
17-year-old Mary, not her real name, was married at 13 and has had little formal education, but now has been given the opportunity to go back to school.
I started school at 10 years and only attended for 2 years. I had to drop out because my aunt needed someone to help her look after cattle. I had only learned to write my name and count up to 50.
This centre, which is one of 26 across multiple Kenyan counties, operates for half a day, 3 days a week, to enable the girls, most of whom are mothers, a chance to look after their children or earn a living. But for girls from pastoralist communities like Mary, cultural perspectives and social challenges mean girls are being left behind.
Early marriage. There is also, in some places, it is not very many, but others, there is also child pregnancy, teenage pregnancy. There is also FGM. There are also, prevalence that boys go to school and then girls stay at home, help their mother with house chores.
For the girls who have enrolled in this education program, being able to do even the most basic of things such as spelling or writing their name has not only given them a widened sense of identity, but a voice, power, and a sense of control over their lives. The program lasts for 6 to 9 months, and the centres hope to have enrolled 5,000 dropout students between the ages of 10 to 19 by 2023. Esther Ogolo, BBC News, Eastern Kenya.
I'm joined now by diplomatic correspondent James Landale, who's there at that summit for us. And James, no doubting about the desperate urgency of the problem here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, even before COVID struck, millions of children were out of school that should have been in school. But what's happened is the pandemic has made that situation much, much worse. Lockdown has meant that schools have been closed because of the economic crisis following the pandemic. School budgets have been squeezed in governments around the world. And a lot of those children are staying out of school. They're not going back. And as a result of that, poverty is increasing, rates of child marriage, teenage pregnancies, and all of the downsides of an absence of education, all those negative impacts are being seen around the world. So this summit, which was, is a regular summit, it happens every sort of 3 to 5 years to sort of raise money for a big global education fund, has, as you say, an added urgency to get as much money into this system as possible, not just in terms of external donors from the outside, but also in developing countries themselves, getting commitments to a decent portion of their domestic budgets to go on education, to invest in the future.
In terms of that amount, 5 billion over 5 years, is that a modest amount when we're talking in global terms? And how realistic is it? How quick do they hope to raise the money?
Well, I mean, let's be frank, they're not going to raise $5 billion in pledges here today. It's going to be around the $4 billion total. If you talk to the organisers, they say, look, that's inevitable because this is a 5-year period. A lot of the pledges come in over that period. Different countries have different budgetary timescales. If you talk to the aid charities, they say, look, actually, that's a reflection of other priorities, economies dealing with health and things like that. They also say the UK government's decision to cut its own aid budget has sort of flattened the appetite amongst other countries, saying, well, why should we increase our spending on education when the UK is cutting theirs? So there's that political debate there. But, you know, $4 billion over 5 years, they hope will make a real dent in getting, you know, 100, as you said in the introduction, 175 million children back into school. You know, that is the ambition. It's one of those things I think you're never going to achieve and deal with and sort entirely. But they hope this money at least will make a start. But clearly, as you say, it's not going to solve the entire problem.